to My Next Question, a Jewelers of America and National Jeweler podcast, sponsored by Darm International. Hello and welcome to My Next Question, a Jewelers of America and National Jeweler podcast. I'm Amanda Gizzi.
And I'm Michelle Graff. Amanda, it's so nice to be here with you today.
Michelle, episode number 3.
I can't believe it. It's gone so fast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We have such an amazing show today.
Yes,
this episode is going to be jam-packed with a lot of fun. Starting off with an interview with Johnny Nelson, jewelry designer and the recent winner of the David Yurman Gem Awards grant.
And we're going to talk to him about why he became a jewelry designer, how he got started on his jewelry journey. He's going to tell us about a ring his mom made him. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about his plans for the grant. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we interview Johnny, we're going to talk about some things that have been making headlines in the jewelry industry recently.
Jewelry never sleeps.
Jewelry never sleeps. I'm going to talk about there was an arrest late last year. There was a murder in Chicago. A father and son jewelers were killed outside their store in the city's Little Village neighborhood. Yes. And it's a very sad story. And there was an update on that story recently. They made an arrest in the case, which was good news. And we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk a little bit about how jewelers react when they become victims of crime. And it's a really complicated and layered topic.
And how it all fits in with security. What people need to know. So an important topic for sure.
And Amanda, I know you want to talk about a few independent jewelry stores that are hitting a big milestone, 100 years in business. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, we have to balance out your doom and gloom, Michelle, with some positive stories.
You know, people love the doom and gloom, though.
I know they do. And I'm a Susie Sunshine.
Pollyanna,
that's me. Little ray of sunshine.
And I also want to talk about, not necessarily doom and gloom, but I do want to talk a little bit about Anglo-American sale of De Beers. Recently, Anglo-American's CEO gave some insight into when it's going to happen and who's bidding for De Beers on the company's fourth quarter earnings call. So we'll talk about that a little bit. He said some things that I think haven't been publicly disclosed before because Anglo has been extremely tight-lipped about selling De Beers. So.
And we'll also talk about engagement ring trends. Every year when National Jeweler publishes an engagement ring story, it always performs very well for good reason.
Yes.
So we'll talk about what's changed, what hasn't, and more on engagement rings, which will be fun. So it's going to be a great episode. So please stick around, and we'll be back right after this word. Darm International is a global leader in natural diamond manufacturing, delivering exceptional craftsmanship through advanced traceability and net zero sustainable practices since 2022. With over 50 years of expertise and 4,500 skilled artisans, they craft diamonds from 0.18 to 100 plus carats, supporting retailers worldwide with consistent quality and responsible sourcing. Visit www.ddpl.com to learn more.
So the first story I want to talk about today is about a father and son jeweler, Faustino Alamo Dominguez, and his son, Luis Angel Alamo, who were jewelers in Chicago. And on November 8th, they were shot and killed while pursuing a man who had just robbed their store. Now, on February 24th, the Chicago Police Department and U.S. Marshals arrested a 35-year-old man in the killing. He's been arrested and charged, disclaimer, innocent until proven guilty, but he has been charged in the case. So when this shooting happened, what happened was, according to video footage the police looked at from neighboring businesses, the man went in there armed, he robbed them, and as he was running out, the father and the son followed him, and they got to like the end of the block basically, and this man, the suspect, shot and killed them both. So this ignited all this conversation online. Now, obviously, we reported this story. It has been years, and Scott Guginski and I were talking about this when this happened.
Of Jeweler Security Alliance.
Scott Guginski, Vice President of Jeweler Security Alliance. He and I were talking about this, that it's been years since more than one jeweler has been killed. He's like, it's not, jewelers get killed on the job almost every year, but he's like, it's been a long time since we've had 2 killed at the same time. It's not that common. We reported on it, obviously, and, shared the story on LinkedIn, and it started this whole discussion about, well, they shouldn't have been chasing him. Well, that's why you don't chase people. And you shouldn't. And that's what JSA advises. But I also thought, and this was like kind of part of the conversation that popped up, It's one thing to sit here reading a story, behind your computer screen with a coffee and be like, "Oh, well, why did they do that?" But I
Mhm.
think I don't know, it's hard to say how would you react in the moment. Like, jewelers know that. They're told all the time by JSA, "Don't resist. Your lives and the lives of your staff are more important than your merchandise. You have insurance, don't pull out a gun. It's just going to end up backfiring on you." And, but and and jewelers should listen to that, but I think it's hard to say if you were in that situation, how would you react? I mean, it's so personal, right? Like it's your business, your family business, and somebody comes in and robs you at gunpoint. They take something that belongs to you. Like, I don't know, like I might run after them and try to get it back too. And it was maybe that there was two against one. I also don't know if one of them ran after them and the other tried to go and say, like, no, don't, and try to stop the person from pursuing. I don't know. But I don't know, I think it's hard to say. I think about this too in the context of, like, I live here in New York City.
Yeah.
What would you do if somebody tried to grab your purse on the subway? I'd probably fight. I'd probably try to fight to keep my purse, like, not just because of the, hassle involved in, like, replacing all your belongings and losing your belongings, but because it's so personal, like, that
Mhm.
belongs to you. You don't have any right to take it from me. And I don't know, it just started this whole conversation that I thought was interesting. Like, it's easy to sit back and read something in the comfort of your own home and be like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't do that." But I think it's another when it's happening to you. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I just thought it was an interesting conversation that arose.
It is an interesting conversation. It's also a good reminder of, regardless of your beliefs, that the systems and the protocols are there to keep you alive
And keep your staff alive
and to keep your
and
staff
your
alive.
customers.
So the warnings and the due diligence that business owners should be taking are for safety and safety alone. I mean, of course, you want to protect your merchandise. Of course, you want to protect your business. Of course, nobody wants anything like that to happen. But at the end of the day, two lives were lost,
Yeah.
and
So
and
sad.
it's tragic. And families were affected. And of course, we as an industry we mourn the loss of those individuals. But not but of course, we mourn the loss of those individuals. And it's a good reminder for everyone about the precautions that you put in place are there for a reason, and to, go through, real life examples of, what would happen in this
Yeah.
situation, just because, to your point, it's easy to get caught up in a moment.
Yeah, and
I
it's
mean,
not even necessarily like your conscious brain reacting.
sure.
It's like an unconscious, like a fight or flight reaction almost. Just somebody comes and grabs something, you just go after them.
Right.
Like I don't know that it's you're really necessarily thinking through everything you've already been taught.
Right.
But it's an extremely sad story. I feel so sorry for that family and that community, and I'm glad somebody has been arrested.
Absolutely. And, if for those tuning in, the conversation's easy to happen online, right?
Yeah,
Behind the
yeah,
comfort of your
yeah.
own home, and just to be mindful of that there are lives lost. But also, take this as a reminder. Sadly, we need reminders from time to time
Yeah.
about store security and safety and protocols, and the systems that are put into place, and to make sure everybody inside the store is aware of those protocols of, what is there to keep people alive. So,
I think the JSA does, to that point, does such a good job of whenever there is a crime, they always use this as a teaching moment.
yeah.
There were recently a number of jewelers robbed on the road, and the JSA,
Mhm.
puts out the information then about it and then says, okay, here are 5 reminders about traveling safely with jewelry while on the road. Or if there's a lot of smash and grabs, put out a release. Okay, here are some things you can do to, minimize harm and loss during smash and grabs. So yeah, I think it's always good to review. I think that's an excellent point. Review your store's security protocols and
Mhm.
remind your employees what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do.
Yeah, and as another reminder of, as Jewelers of America, as a nonprofit organization that serves the industry, support your trade organization, support JSA in this effort. So, if just a unsolicited call, JSA did not put us up to this, but, find ways to support the people who are trying to protect your businesses, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Turning to some positive news.
Pollyanna.
Pollyanna says, let's talk about some jewelry stores that are celebrating big anniversaries. We constantly hear the news, we read all the stories about all of these incredible landmark businesses that close their doors for one reason or another. We hear at JA when one of our members, goes out of business, we always reach out and figure out, why they're going out of business, whether it's, they have no family to pass it down to, or they just
Which
want
is
to.
a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah, they're wanting to retire. Their kids want different lives for themselves, or whatever the reason is. There are a lot of stores who are coming into the JA 100 Club, which is Jewelers of America's 100 year in business. It's a very elite club. But I thought it was interesting because we had one known member. So this is people that give us their established date in 2025. We have 8 in 2026.
That's amazing.
And I felt like that was a really incredible, first of all, it's an incredible number, 8 jewelers around the country. And I'll read them to you just because they deserve a little shout out. So Simmons and Clark in Detroit, Michigan. Bullock's Jewelry in Roswell, New Mexico. Ooh, Michelle, how does one say Fleegoff Jewelers. Sorry, Fleegoff, if you're listening, in Washington, New Jersey. Kloiber Jewelers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. London Jewelers in Glen Cove, which we'll talk about. Robson's Jewelers of Texas in Baytown, Texas. The Diamond Shop in Lewiston, Idaho. Van Horn Jewelers in Granger, Indiana. And Wilson Jewelers in North Palm Beach, Florida.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
So all these stores opened in 1926.
They all opened in 1926.
Look at my math.
Yes, you're so smart, Michelle.
Amazing.
So what I thought was interesting is almost all of them have a couple of things in common. Most are family-run businesses. Who are now, most of them, almost all of them, are in their 4th generation or have the 4th generation in the business in some way, which is interesting. So they continue that family legacy. All pride themselves with excellent customer service. So customer service is a huge part. Community outreach and impact. So programs that they have in place with their local communities, ways to draw people in. And then custom jewelers on staff. So a bench jeweler on staff that deals with custom and repairs. I think
Custom's huge now.
Custom's huge, as is repairs. It's kept a lot of jewelers through hard times, bringing people in for. We'll also hear about watch batteries, bringing people through the door.
Opinions on watch batteries.
A lot of opinions on watch batteries. They will climb through a blizzard to get their watch battery. And then one of the jewelers, I loved this, that talked about providing luxury and value for their customer base. But one jeweler in particular, London Jewelers.
Yes.
Michelle and we both had the pleasure of going to visit London Jewelers for an interview that you did.
Yeah. So we went out there over the summer, I believe. I remember it was very warm, correct?
Yes, it was early summer.
Early summer. And we went out there. Headquarters are on Long Island. And we were there all day. I was going to say we were out there for a couple hours. It was more than a couple hours. It was an amazing interview. They were so gracious and lovely. We interviewed Candy and Mark Udell. And
for Retail Hall of Fame.
For the Retailer Hall of Fame issue, we inducted. We did not. They are both in the Retailer Hall of Fame already, but we did a special feature in their last Retailer Hall of Fame issue about their 100th anniversary. Yes. That's what it was. And they were just both amazing to interview. They gave us so much time. And I thought what stood out to me, because I was rereading the story before we recorded this, was Candy talking about how brands didn't used to be such a big thing in the jewelry industry. And she's like, when we were first opening our stores, you just put all the jewelry together and all the watches together. And she's like, you didn't separate out, well, this is this brand and this brand and this brand. And she's like, I think what she said in the story is that when they were opening their second store, Wheatley Plaza was second, I believe. She's like, that's the first time we kind of started recognizing brands and making little areas for different brands. Of course, anyone that goes into a jewelry store today knows that it's that's the way it's all organized. Yeah. Whether you have more independent designers or all the big brands. So I thought she was talking about I thought that was interesting. She was kind of saying we invested in these brands and got on the board with these brands years ago before brands were a big thing. And it's a big part of the longevity, I think, is, having all these brands. And they really, for a lot of those jewelry brands, London Jewelers is really what brought those brands to Long Island. It's in there. Obviously, they also just got recognized at the GEM Awards,
Yes.
Lifetime Achievement
Lifetime
Award.
achievement. Yeah.
Congratulations to them. And I thought it was interesting. You mentioned earlier that a lot of those businesses are in their fourth generation because London Jewelers it's in its fourth generation as well.
That's right.
So I had a great experience out there, and then we got to see a couple of their stores afterwards. And I just think they're just a great example of hard work and people who just love what they do. And there's a really funny part. It's towards the end of the story of the interview. Do you remember this when we asked them if they were ever going to retire?
Oh yeah, never
And
gonna
Candy was
retire.
like, I don't golf and I don't play cards and I don't know what I'd do with myself every day if I didn't get up and get dressed and come into work and talk to people and see what was going on. Like they just love the
Mm-hmm.
business. You know, people say all the time, like, what is that expression? If you never want to work in a day in your life, find a job you
Do you love?
love.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true for them. So congratulations to them
Yeah.
on 100 years and congratulations to everyone else
Yeah,
on that list. That's an
absolutely.
incredible list.
Yeah,
And
it's so
100
great. And
years
all
in
across the
business,
country.
100 years in business for any small business is amazing. It's a
Yeah.
very low percentage of businesses that to make it to 100
Yeah,
years.
absolutely.
So we're talked about milestones.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to ping back to me for something less fun?
Well, let's ping back to you, Debbie Downer.
Okay, thanks. Also, something that's been in the news is the sale of De Beers. I think everyone knows this, but De Beers is 85% owned by Anglo American. In the spring of 2024, Anglo American confirmed publicly that they want to offload De Beers. It's part of a larger restructuring. It's about De Beers, but it's not just about De Beers. So there've been tons of reports. Botswana obviously wants to
Mhm.
buy part of De Beers. We heard that Angola wants to buy part of De Beers. There's been a lot of rumors about who's bidding, who's grouping with who to bid, who's going to end up owning it. And Duncan Wanblad, the CEO of Anglo American, said on a conference call in late February, he gave a little insight into the sale that I don't think has been publicly revealed before. First, he said that one of the analysts on the call had asked him a question like, who is bidding on De Beers? Can you give us more color on that? And he said they're all consortiums, meaning there's not one single
Mhm.
bidder, they're all groups of governments and companies or companies. And he said some of the consortiums have governments in them and some of them do not. And he's like, and they're all valid bidders.
Mhm.
And he said, no matter what happens, the government of Botswana will be playing a role in who ends up with De Beers. And he also gave a little insight into the timeline. Now, I thought, it was my understanding last time I interviewed somebody about this, I thought the sale of De Beers was going to happen in the first half of 2026. But on the call, it seems like it's taking longer than that because on the call, the CEO said that he thinks they will have De Beers until the end of the year. And so Anglo is merging with a copper mining company called Tech Resources, TECK.
Uh-huh.
I think they're out of Australia. Somebody asked him, an analyst asked him about like the timing of offloading De Beers and merging with Tech, et cetera. And he said that he expected the Tech deal to be done by September, but he expected them to still own De Beers at that time. And then I read elsewhere that they're hoping to get it done by the end of the year. So I feel safe in saying that I think Anglo will still own De Beers at the end of the calendar year 2026. That's interesting. I thought it was going to come earlier. Obviously, it's a tough time for the natural diamond market,
Right.
so that's probably playing a role as well. But that's what we know about De Beers and Anglo right now.
So not totally Debbie Downer, Michelle.
Not totally Debbie
that's a
Downer, just Debbie information.
Debbie information. I love that. Well, I think there's so much to learn from that, and so much that is at stake for the industry.
Yeah.
Obviously, De Beers is such an important part of our industry, and obviously natural diamonds. And as the diamond conversation continues to dominate our news and our businesses.
Yeah. And I mean, they do so much for the industry.
They
put
do.
some money into so many things. They're such a supporter. So
They do, and
it's what happens to them is going to be big news for the industry, no matter how exactly it falls.
So taking the diamond news, quickly transitioning to talk very quickly about engagement ring trends.
Okay. Still diamond
related, because diamonds continue to be the large representation of engagement ring stone choice
Correct.
for consumers today. Um,
Overwhelmingly. And, you know, all
overwhelmingly.
the time there's all these conversations, oh, colored stones, more and more consumers are picking colored stones. And there always are going to be people that go with
Sure.
something that's not a diamond, but like the vast majority of people that want an engagement ring, like in their mind. And I interviewed Marion Faisal,
Yep.
who was on the last episode of My Next Question here with
Yes.
us. And she's like, when people think of an engagement ring, what they are thinking of is a diamond engagement ring, like
Right.
full stop. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So Marion obviously authored a book on engagement,
History
the
of
history of
engagement.
an engagement ring. So diamonds, she is definitely an authority on that. That's for sure. After all, she uncovered for that book. So let's talk about real quick some of the what are some of the key moments that popped out to you about the trends? I think it's always interesting to talk about engagement ring trends because, and I think you and I have talked about this before, there's very little that does change. However, it wasn't so long ago. You know, like I have a princess cut engagement ring today.
I was just looking at
Yeah, and today it's like nobody wants that. You couldn't pay people to take
Some
it.
people still want it.
I
It's
still
some people want
love
it.
mine, and it's, you know, I still think that it holds up today. Maybe it's just the setting that I do have it paired with blue sapphires, so a little bit of the gemstone in there too. But cuts is something that has continued to evolve, and
Mhm.
fancy shapes.
Fancy shape. So, yours is your engagement ring. When did you get engaged?
I got engaged in 2003.
Okay, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
So, one thing that has changed when I started the industry, it was 2007. White metals, you saw no yellow
Yeah.
gold engagement
Right.
rings. Round number one. Round
Yep.
is still number one, by the
Right.
way. Princess
Princess
was
was number
two.
two, always.
Now, oval. Ovals are huge, and
Mhm.
ovals of almost, you know, ovals are like nipping at round's heels.
Yeah.
Like ovals are very big.
Followed
And
by cushion.
cushions, marquise.
Yes.
Marquise, and a couple people mentioned marquise to me. And I mean, just like, we don't need to go through every single cut, but just like fancy cuts in general
Yes.
are like becoming more and more popular. It used to be round princess, and then everything else was a very small share of the market.
Mhm.
And that is changing. Another thing that is different, yellow gold.
Yeah.
Now, more people still have either a platinum or a white gold engagement ring overall, but there's way more yellow gold engagement rings
Yep.
than there used to be. Do you remember the scene in Sex and the City?
Yes. Oh, of
When
course.
it was season 4, I think. I wrote about it in my stories, like an intro.
Yeah.
Aiden's going to
Aiden,
propose
yeah.
to Carrie. She doesn't know this. She's going through his bag, like putting some stuff
And it's
away or
yellow
whatever.
gold.
She finds a yellow gold engagement ring with a yellow gold engagement ring with a pear-shaped diamond.
Of course.
And everybody is just horrified
And
at
today
how
she
ugly
would have
this
been
engagement
like-
ring. Yeah.
She would have been
But-
right on trend.
I think it's also like, you know, I mean, we've talked about this before. Trends always circle back
Yeah.
around, right? You know, some of the National Jeweler editors are very into marquee cuts. Well, when I started in the industry in 2007, nobody wanted a marquee cut
Yeah.
diamond, but they're like, you know, of that age. They're in their late 20s, early 30s, you know, and they're like, oh, marquee cut, I love that, you know,
Yeah.
but it's just, it's fresh and new to them. Whereas for people our age who were maybe getting engaged in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
it seemed dated then. It seemed
Yeah.
80s. It seemed out of date.
It's
But
the
you
new
know,
vintage, Michelle.
it's the new vintage.
Sadly, we're vintage.
I mean, bordering on antique at this point. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. Gold, yellow gold,
Yeah.
fancy shapes. Those were the two things that stuck out most to me. And I think the reason they stick out again is just like because I've now seen this evolution over the years
Yeah.
of engagement rings. What about for you?
Yeah,
You read the
same.
story, correct?
Yes, of course, of
Okay.
course. No, I think the same. You know, the antique cuts obviously got a
Yeah.
huge boost thanks to, you know, our girl T Swift. You
Well,
know,
that's something that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is more interest in that, but there's also a difference. Like there's only a limited supply of
It's-
actual antique
exactly.
diamonds. But
It's
we're talking
inspired
about
by.
yeah, like cuts that are inspired by older
Correct.
cuts.
Correct.
So, you know,
It's like the new vintage inspired.
yeah, vintage and
Which was
vintage and vintage inspired are big. Yeah,
Right.
that's another
Yeah.
big trend. But honestly, in like when I was looking at all the data from the Knot and from the people I interviewed, you know, that didn't really come in big in 2025. And I interviewed Esther Lee with the Knot, and she kind of made this point. You know, Taylor didn't get engaged till August.
Right.
So like the year was more than half over by the
100%.
time that happened. But she
Yeah.
did say, you know, she's like kind of watch this space for next year, and we'll see if her engagement ring, you know, has any kind of impact.
Sure.
And then also last year, Selena Gomez got engaged, I think a little earlier in the year. And I talked to some jewelers that said that that sparked an interest in marquee cuts. And this isn't to say
Hmm.
Taylor's ring won't spark more of an interest in the elongated cushion, if you will.
Right.
But a few jewelers told me that Selena's ring actually gave marquee, which was kind of on the rise already, a boost. So that's interesting. I mean, celebrity engagements do make a difference, whether you like the person or not. We've talked about this before, but people see it now,
Yeah.
because of social media. Everybody sees everybody's ring. And it does make a difference when somebody that has 30 million followers gets engaged.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our episode of Jewelry Never Sleeps.
Up next, we'll be joined by
Yeah.
designer Johnny Nelson, who, as we mentioned, is the winner of the David Yurman Gem Awards grant. I got the name right. Thank you. Please stick around. We'll be right back with Johnny after this message.
You don't want to miss it. Jewelers of America is the most trusted and influential voice of the jewelry industry. With a mission to empower and unite its members, Jewelers of America provides guidance, education, and advocacy to promote excellence, integrity, and success in an evolving marketplace. Since 1906, Jewelers of America has been advancing the fine jewelry industry, setting high ethical standards, and fostering professional growth for their members. Jewelers of America represents a large, diverse membership of retailers and suppliers who commit annually to the organization's code of professional practices. Visit jewelers.org to become a member and get insider access to the many member benefits. Hi, Johnny. Welcome to My Next Question. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you here.
Peace and blessings. I'm excited too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first question for you, Johnny, is I hear about a ring that your mother created, how it started your fine jewelry story and this life that you now have in the jewelry industry. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so basically, I was a touring musician. At first I was working with a band called Ninja Sonic. Then I was with a band called Spank Rock. So um I would assist him on tour by doing his vocals, and then I would do my own songs. And then, but I was just feeling so good as I was performing, like going to different state to state, and then I just felt like my best self. But I was like, hey, let me how can I enhance my stage presence, so I could actually feel, so I could look as good as I feel, and actually give the audience something more to look at and to feel, right? So as I was about to go on my European leg of tour, I seen my mom, she's British. Um, I seen she had a black tourmaline stone inside her mantelpiece. So for some reason, I was just like, "Hey, can you turn this into a ring for me?" And I had no idea that she even know how to make jewelry, but I just had so much confidence in her because she's just like so dope. Um, she she actually turned this ring. It was like an oblong black tourmaline. She had th- wrapped it, and basically she made it into like a three-finger ring. So it was a single ring, but it covered three fingers, right? So from there, I was like super intrigued, right? So I'm like, yo, can so when I went on tour, I just kept getting so many compliments, so many compliments, so many compliments. So I'm like, wow, like I actually have to learn how to do this, you know? So as I was coming back from tour, I had a download on a plane. It was like, okay, so now make three-finger rings, like actual three-finger rings. So I asked my mom, like I actually like just sketched out like a little design, or basically told her. So she started to make the three-finger wire wraps, that it was signature to me, right? So from there, she would make them, and I'm like, okay, not like I want to sell them or something like that. So she didn't have no time to actually just keep making them, so she just taught me how to do it. She's like, yo, I gotta go to work, but here.
She's like, I'm not your personal jeweler. I got other stuff to do.
Exactly. So from there, I was making these different stones. We would go to, like, so basically there was like, I think up until about 2000 and like maybe 13. So you would go on, what was it? It was like Broadway and like 38th and like 37th and 36th. Like, there was like all like these loose stone places,
Oh, yeah.
right? They're all freaking shut down now. Like, they're all shut
Yeah.
down now, right? But so we would go there. We'd pick out like different stones. It would be like black tourmalines. It'll be it'll be quartz, it'll be amethyst, it'll be pyrite. Pyrite was my favorite. Um, and then so I'll just be wrapping these stones and then and just playing music. 'Cause I'm a musician, so playing music, freestyling and stuff like that. And then I would make this make the rings. I'll put them on my homegirls. Like say they was going out, I'll put them on them, and then I'll just see them instantly transform. Like, oh my goodness, I look so dope. I'm so fire. Like, and just like doing all of these things, and I would see like the transformation and feel it, and I'm like, wow, like this is actually super dope. Like I really felt good just because they felt good. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they look good. You know, so that was like a thing. But then also, yeah, so from there. I had just I guess my style was just big rings, right? So big three-finger rings. So from there, I think I went to my sister's house one day, and then she had a statue. She had a statue. It was the three wise monkeys, right? And then so what I did with that, I picked up the statue. It was about this big. It was about probably about two by two like 2 inches high by 3 inches wide, right? And I took a black tourmaline stone and I put it in the middle of the um of the belly of one of the monkeys, and I took a photo and I put it on Instagram, and I said, three wise monkey rings coming soon. And everybody just like, oh my goodness, this is so fire. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is dope. This is dope. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta learn how to do this.
Gotta fulfill on that promise.
Yeah. So from there, I was like, okay, so now I really gotta learn how to make this because like I'm a man of my word and I really just love the arts, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
well, you were already in the arts if you were in music, so it's not that
yeah.
far of a stretch.
Exactly. And it's just I just and I guess just yeah, from being in arts as a kid, like you always just know that you could put thought into something tangible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
just what it was. So from there I had went to the Diamond District and I just basically drew out a sketch. I was like, okay, can we do this? Can we make this three wise monkey ring into a ring? But then also going back, so I used to wear matchsticks in my ears. I was known for wearing matchsticks in my ears because I used to throw parties and they used to always have matchsticks in this box,
So
like
you
matchbox.
just so I'm clear, you just stuck them. You had your ears pierced, and you just stuck a
Yeah, so I used
matchstick
to have
through the
gauges
hole.
as a kid. So I used to have gauges as a kid.
Okay.
So, well, as a teenager. So, but I just stopped wearing the gauges, and then like to keep it like a little bit open, I just threw these matchsticks in my ears. So everybody knew me for wearing that. So at the same time, I was like, okay, let's let's learn how to make these three-finger rings, right? And then also let's make the luxury faux plug matchstick earring. So I came to the Diamond District with two designs, and then from there, that became like the aesthetic. Is big rings and luxury faux plugs. You know.
So before the matchsticks and the monkey statue, and you're asking your mom to make you a ring, like as a little kid, before you were a teenager, were you the kind of kid that was like in your mom's jewelry box? Like, did you have an interest in jewelry before you started touring?
I did have an interest in jewelry. I wouldn't say I was in my mom's jewelry box. I would say like my dad used to have like nugget rings and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
And
Love it.
then my mom, she always had jewelry though, like she
Yeah.
always, so basically like she's a very fashionable, like she's a very fashionable person, like in my neighborhood, like the first thing somebody would say about my mom is like if somebody was asking about her, they would be like, Johnny's mom is mad fly. Like that's something that at least like 10 out of 12 people gonna say, you know. And but also there was my aunt, right, my aunt Faye, who lived across the street. She used to have these long nails, big rings, the big bamboo earrings, and a nameplate. That was always something that just stood
Yeah.
out to me.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
like that, because like once you like that's like the statement. It's like once you see that, it's like that just like draws so much attention to you. You know what I'm saying? So like that was cool. And then also, but as a kid, it was like just growing up watching hip hop videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like it was LL Cool J. He used to have the big four-finger rings that said LL Cool J, and then I used to call myself LL Cool J.
And he's wearing the four-finger ring right now.
Exactly. You feel me?
So, Johnny, in your mission statement, kind of ties into I think what you're talking about now. You have a very powerful line that says sculpting cultural legacy through fine jewelry. So, can you talk a little bit about that culture and how it's defined, what your jewelry success and what your jewelry lines look like today?
Yeah. So, so basically, like one of the things that I'm known for within the jewelry landscape
Mm-hmm.
is sculpting of the the Mount Rushmore as pieces. So I would basically take different icons and format them in like the same positioning as Mount Rushmore for different cultural purposes. So basically, it's a thing of honoring the past to basically preserve culture and to basically understand where we came from and where we're going. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And just to also just the fact of just it takes like a lot of strength and perseverance to actually just accomplish goals in general.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes we need these things to basically just give us like a little bit of a reminder and also a push at the same time. And then also I feel like if we make them in gold, it makes it all worth the while. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yeah, it makes them permanent and valuable. And I know
Absolutely.
Exactly.
what you mean. Yeah, like sometimes you just need a little boost.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Um,
and then, oh, sorry.
no, that's okay. Can you tell us who was on? I remember, I think the Mount Rushmore rings were the first piece I remember seeing from you, Johnny. Can you remind us who was on the first Mount Rushmore that
The
you created your ring?
Well, the first one that I did was the hip hop one,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
right? So the hip hop version, because I grew up rapping, in Brooklyn, and then I went on tour and all of that good stuff, see the world. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it was Biggie Smalls, um, or the Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, Shakur, ODB from the Wu-Tang Clan,
Mhm.
and Easy E.
Thank you
Yes.
for using his initials. Um, and you
DC.
could,
That's right.
real quick, one more. And you did one with women too. Can you remind us who was on the?
Yeah. So that's the Her Freedom ring.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have Harriet Tubman, um Ida B. Wells, Sojourner Truth, and Shirley Chisholm.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, I remember that one too. Can you tell us a little bit about what are you working on right now? Like what's new for you? What are we going to be seeing from you in the coming months?
So in the coming months, I'm going to be doing a real launch of my it's my all power Buddha Fist collection,
Mm-hmm.
which is which was it's a collection where I take the all power fist and I carve it in stones and basically taking a good symbol, right, which was just a symbol of solidarity, right, and basically everybody coming together so that we could um get basically fight for a good cause, right? And just a symbol of strength and resilience. But I took it instead of it just being solid, and I carved it into different precious stones. So it could be actually we could enhance the power of it, through the precious minerals, and then also we could make it more playful at the same time. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be going to be releasing a few of those, and then also I have my Nefertiti collection that I'm going to be releasing also. The Nefertiti Afro Pick collection, and
Okay.
then also to go along with the All Power fists, I'm going to be doing some hair accessories for the children as well. So if some of the collectors have children and stuff, so now we could all be inclusive in that sense, the mom, the daughter,
Yeah.
I love
all of
that.
that good
That
stuff.
sounds really cool. Any more Mount Rushmores coming soon?
We have some Mount Rushmore talk. Somebody had recently reached out about the I guess the actors Mount Rushmore, the women actors.
Mm.
Ah.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, so we're thinking about that, and then there's a lot of different things in the works as far as the Mount Rushmores, but usually I listen to the people,
I
and to see how everybody's feeling at the moment, you know.
love that. Johnny, the
Yes.
news obviously this week that you were the first recipient of the David Yurman Gem Awards grant. First of all, congratulations. So well deserved. I know the
Thank you so
industry
much.
has really shown up and reached out regarding that. But can you talk a little bit about what that has meant to you, being part of that experience, being part of the finalists, and then ultimately what was that moment like when you found out you won?
The moment, well, I'm super grateful. I feel like I just I feel it's gnarly because like I feel seen, right? And when I say that, it's just that I feel that like I work very, very, very hard, Like I feel like I have this thing where like I work very hard but I make it look easy,
Yeah.
But it's like nobody really understands how hard I work. you know?
Yeah.
Um so I was very, very happy, you know, because it's a hard thing to do to like to be able to just create, right? To not really come from like a business background, to not have to not to not have that that like any rubric really, and then also
Mhm.
to stay true to your message. I mean to your message and your just my design palette, and to not really I don't follow too many trends, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? But then to still be seen and to be recognized is an honor, right? And also, I really look up to David Yurman and the brand, So that was very like I'm super happy, I yeah, like I think I went to an opening to like a couple of maybe like maybe last year. One of my good friends and mentors, we had went to like an opening and stuff. So I was like, I had like a little walkthrough of the shop and stuff like that, and I talked to some of the other people from the team even
Yeah.
before this happened, Like, but I had no idea that this grant was even gonna come up or anything, So it's just like certain like bits of like alignment, that was just glimpses, that were just coming through, but I've been super grateful, Like I actually shed a tear, like
Aw.
that's
Well,
gnarly.
we're all so excited for you.
That's amazing. Congratulations again. Do you, I mean, it might be too soon to ask you this, but do you know what you want to do with the grant? Like when you were going through the process, did you kind of say to yourself, if I win, I'll do this, this, and this?
Well, yeah, also, well, but like some of the things is just so I want to produce a new fine jewelry collection, right? So it'll definitely help with production materials and sourcing ethically, and then also just cutting costs on certain things, as in like getting like my laser cutting machine and stuff, and keeping certain things in house, and then also just marketing and stuff like that. That's
Okay.
just some of the things to speak on.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah. My last question, I know Michelle has one more too, but my last question for you, Johnny, is what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, I think it's not just what I know that I'm carving it out now, but I know it's just to stay true to yourself and and to inspire by staying true, you know, and by understanding the culture, but it's really staying true to yourself and your vision, one that stayed true and inspired. I feel like where I grew up and stuff like that, there's not a lot of people that are able to just achieve certain milestones,
Mhm.
And you grew
And
up in Brooklyn. You mentioned that earlier, correct?
yeah, I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Okay.
I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. I was born in England, raised in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. So, but yeah, my legacy is really just stay true. Like I really know that I stayed true to myself and to my inner child
Mhm.
for forever. You know, everything that I do is a reflection of my young imagination. You know, and I feel like I try to stay in alignment with source. You know, so that I could always have that flow of creativity to that gives me that joy once something pops in. I'm like, oh wow, you know, that's that's the that's the legacy, you know, to to stay true to yourself and inspire
I
in
love that. And for that to be
positive
part of
elements.
our Gem Awards legacy, Johnny, with you being this grant recipient is so special because you were selected for that unique voice and how true you stayed to that. And for defining the traditional jewelry, there's not one path,
Yeah.
for success in the industry.
Exactly.
I also think it's interesting what you just said about like staying true to your inner child, because I think sometimes we forget that like joy and imagination we had when you're
Yeah.
kids, because you grow up, things get hard, life is complicated, it's difficult, and sometimes you forget like the things that made you happy when you were a
Mm-hmm.
little kid. There's no reason you have to let go of all those
Yeah.
when you become an
Exactly.
adult. I mean, that should inspire you. I think that's so interesting. And I agree with Amanda. I think your jewelry, I mean, when you think about designers, right, what you think about is whose work, when you look at it, do you instantly know, oh, that's X designer,
Yeah.
oh, that's this person. Yours is distinctive. It's yours and no one else's. And you can tell that as soon as you look at piece. No one else has done a Mount Rushmore
I
ring
say.
that I know of.
Well, that's the reason it's in museums.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have one more thing. We got a little bit of time left. Can you tell us one thing about yourself that people would be surprised to learn or surprised to know?
Surprise. I'm trying to see what would anybody be surprised about. I don't know. I like to do yoga. I p- I practiced Kabbalah for a while. I grew up playing the drums in church. Um, it's a lot.
You're a marathon runner. I
I'm
know
a
that about you. I
marathoner.
don't
Oh
think a
yeah.
lot of people would know that. See,
Oh,
that's what I thought you
I
were going to
didn't I
say.
didn't know that about you,
I don't. But
Johnny.
you know
He's
what
a
it is? It's
fast
like
marathon runner too, by the way, not just leisurely.
certain things just become so easy. You know, I'm just
No, I
like,
don't.
or
Marathon is
it's
never
No, I
easy,
was going to
just to
say,
be
or it
no.
clear,
just
Johnny.
no, it just became so much a part of my lifestyle. Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So oh yeah, so I'm a marathoner. I actually just ran a half marathon in Miami 2
Oh,
days ago.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
2 days ago.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congrats.
Yeah, that was
Michelle's doing the half marathon in New York on Sunday, next
oh
Sunday.
where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's gonna be fire.
I mean, it'll be something. Um,
I will not be doing the half marathon.
I
Johnny,
love
thank
running
you.
though.
Yeah, I like it too. I think around mile like 8, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, but that
Um,
full marathon when it gets to like mile 20, you're gonna be like, ah.
ooh, yeah, yeah, it's too
Mm.
much. I did one full marathon and I hit my breaking point at mile 22. I was like, I'm done. Like my legs were my
It was
quads were
gnarly.
so sore. That was rough. But I mean, I felt good. I didn't hit the wall till mile 22. That's pretty good.
I usually hit the
Yeah.
mile around
When when I was
around
at
mile
mile
2.
Mile 2.
when I was at mile 24.5, right? My headphone it my headphone came out and then I could not put it back in, right? And then I had my name on the front of my jersey. So everybody just kept yelling like Johnny, Johnny. I thought everybody was teasing me. I was in so much pain.
Aw.
It was
Oh,
wild. Like it was
yeah.
it's a whole different experience. But once you do it, you know, like you have it under your belt and you know that
Yeah,
you've
I was
already
gonna say,
accomplished a
like,
lot
no
in life.
matter what your time is, no matter how much pain you were in, like you did a marathon and no one can ever, that'll never change. No one can
Exactly.
ever take that away from you. You always have that experience under your belt. I have one more thing before we let you go today. Can I make one Mount Rushmore suggestion?
Let's do it.
Johnny, a Mount Rushmore of cats.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness. Yeah, so you gotta fill me in on all of the cats that you love.
Oh, she will.
All right, we'll book a time to talk about it.
Let's do that.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Johnny. On my next question, you were an amazing guest, and we were delighted to have you. So thanks again for being with
Thank
us.
you so much. Blessings, blessings, blessings.
And congratulations again. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
You're welcome. For 120 years, National Jeweler has been a trusted source of news and information for fine jewelry retailers, designers, and manufacturers. The publication delivers up-to-date information and commentary on the latest trends, headlines, and happenings via its daily newsletter and its 2 flagship print publications, The State of the Majors and the Retailer Hall of Fame. To learn more and subscribe, visit nationaljeweler.com/subscribe. You can also find us on Instagram. Our handle is @nationaljeweler, as well as on Facebook and LinkedIn. So we're going to do something new for Facets of Fun today.
Yeah.
We've come up with some questions so we can get to know each other better and our audience can get to know us better too.
Yeah.
So because this is a jewelry podcast, we have, of course, placed our questions in a jewelry box.
A non-traditional
Amanda,
jewelry box.
This is your jewelry box. So
Yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about it, and then I'm going to let you pick the first question.
Okay, great. This is a box that was actually sent to me as a wedding invitation from somebody who's in the jewelry industry. One of my oldest friends in the jewelry industry, her son was getting married, who I'm also good friends with, and this was the wedding invitation. The wedding invitation came in this glorious box.
It's beautiful.
So this has been a prized possession of mine for many years, but I thought it'd be a really fun vessel for our questions,
I think it's a
so to
perfect
speak.
vessel.
So shout out to Kumi, Sahil, and Daniela, who the box was for. So this beautiful gilded box. I'm going to go first.
Okay,
So
I
each
like that
pick
you're
a
not
couple.
looking.
We'll each pick a couple questions. They are folded, so we're good.
Yes, you're
Okay.
good, you're
Oh
good.
boy, Michelle, here we go.
I'm closing the box.
Do you prefer your phone calls, text, calls, or FaceTime?
I just like a text.
A
I don't really
text.
like to talk on the phone.
Okay.
Sorry, that's rude, but I don't
No.
like it.
I will never call you again, Michelle.
It's okay. You can call me Amanda. You're my
I
partner.
FaceTime you. That's worse.
No, that's terrible. Please don't do that. Is this just one?
That's
Right
one.
here? Oh, no.
You don't have to close your eyes.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm such a mess. Ooh, what is a fun fact about you that most people in the industry don't know? I can think of
most
one.
people- You can?
Yeah.
I was a D1 athlete.
Yeah, that's what I was going
my
to
volleyball
say.
team
Yeah.
at St. John's University.
I think that's
I
amazing.
think people might know that though, but
Oh.
that's okay. All right. Let's see here, Michelle. Let's see what I got for you. What's your favorite? What's that? Oh, I'm leaning for it. I have another one for you, Michelle. What is your favorite part about working at National Jeweler? Say Amanda.
Amanda. Well, no, I do genuinely really enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy the young editors who work with me. I think they're all great. And, I just like National Jeweler's always changing. Like when I started, it was a monthly magazine. Then we didn't have a magazine at all. Then we brought the magazine back. Like it's always evolving. So like, yeah, I've had the same job for a long time, but I feel like I've had a lot of different jobs.
Love it.
Is this number 3 for you? Yes.
That was my second question.
Oh, this is number 2 for you. Sorry. My mess. Taxi or Uber?
Taxi.
Okay.
Through the Curb app, so I can still call it in advance.
I love the Curb app.
Yes. Is that it for today?
I think that's all.
Okay.
So
Well, that was fun. You're like, yes, it was fun.
So we'll be back next month with another great episode. We don't want to give too much away, but the birthstone for April is the diamond. So it's going to be something diamond focused, just to give you a little hint. And we will see you then.
Thank you for tuning in.